Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriate Affairs Nasser Joudeh met in Cairo with Egypt's interim president Adli Mansour and conveyed the greetings of His Majesty the King and his good wishes to the Egyptian people. Joudeh voiced hope that Egypt will continue to play its historical role at the regional and international level. He also reiterated Jordan's support to Egypt in its efforts to safeguard its security and stability and realize the people's aspirations. Joudeh also met with Arab League Secretary General Nabil Arabi and discussed with him Mideast developments, namely Palestinian-Israeli peace and the Syria crisis. We stay in Egypt, and prominent liberal leader Mohammed al-Baradei was sworn in as Egypt's interim vice president for foreign relations. Al-Baradei was sworn in by interim president Adli Mansour as Egypt's new leadership pushes ahead with a transition following the military's ousting of President Mohamed Morsi nearly 2 weeks ago. Al-Baradei is a Nobel laureate and chairman of a Dastur party and is a former director general of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Interim Prime Minister Hazem al-Bablawi has also filled senior posts, tapping technocrats and liberals for an administration to govern under a temporary constitution until parliamentary elections in about 6 months. Meanwhile, Egypt's army chief Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said every political force in the country will have an opportunity to participate in political life and that no movement would be excluded. Addressing an armed forces gathering in Cairo, Sisi said Mohamed Morsi has lost legitimacy because of mass demonstrations against him. In the first official confirmation of details for the days before the overthrow of the former president, Sisi said the military had urged him to hold a referendum on his rule, but that he rejected all calls. In Iraq, a string of bomb blasts in several provinces killed at least 24 people. Police and medics said a suicide bomber killed at least 4 people in a mosque in the town of Musayyab, and in Quds City, a car bomb went off in a busy market, killing 5. 3 bombs exploded in quick succession in the southern city of Basra, killing at least 8 people. Over to Syria, where government forces continued heavy shelling in the city of Hims and on the outskirts of the capital, Damascus. Footage shot in Hims showed buildings heavily damaged. Opposition supporters also reported airstrikes on Irbin on the eastern outskirts of Damascus, as well as Douma. There was also fighting in Jobar area of Damascus, where Syrian authorities facilitated secure entry for journalists. Meanwhile, Syrian rebels said the Pakistani Taliban have set up camps and sent hundreds of men to Syria to fight along their side. Another Taliban commander in Pakistan, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said the decision to send fighters to Syria came at the request of Arab friends. France held its annual Bastille Day parade with a traditional march down the Champs-Élysées in Paris, with French President François Hollande in attendance. This year's guest of honors included United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, as well as the Malian and Croatian presidents. Troops from the armies of Mali and Croatia paraded down central Paris, along with thousands of personnel from France's Army, Navy, and Air Force. An aerobatic display team flew overhead, trailing smoke in the colors of the French flag. The display ended with paratroopers landing at the Place de la Concorde. Cupcakes for Kids with Cancer organized a fun day with children and adults in Johannesburg to make a giant portrait of former South African President Nelson Mandela out of cupcakes. The charity, which raises funds for children with cancer, paired up with the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital that will receive the sale money. Volunteers and children, some with cancer, used more than 5,000 cupcakes to make the mosaic and urged the ailing Mandela to stay positive. Mandela's wife said on Friday that her husband was responding to treatment for a serious lung infection. Finally, for a quick look at the weather, pleasant tonight across the country with northwesterly moderate winds. Tomorrow, a rise in temperatures expected. Therefore, it will be relatively hot in hill areas with a high of 32 degrees in Amman. The Jordan Valley and Aqaba can expect a hot day tomorrow and a high of 40 degrees Celsius. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Nancy Khair. Thank you for watching and have a good night.